New Year's resolutions, they're the thing that millions to even billions of people do every single year, and all of them across the board normally are something around the lines of, let's say, I want to read more, I want to pursue more in my career, I want to go to the gym, and then you've got some more obscure ones in there as well. However, on the 1st of January, most people end up starting out what they think is going to be the new version of themselves. And then around about the 17th of January, it's been found out that the mass majority of people end up failing and giving up on their resolutions of being a better version of themselves. This comes down to a few different things, however the main one is the idea of what actually successfully builds habits, and a lot of people get that wrong. They think you should just dive nose deep into it. So we're going to discuss in this video about whether or not you should be making New Year's resolutions, and overall the best way of going about them if you were to. So to answer that first question of should you actually be doing this thing, yes, 100%. If you actually want to improve yourself, then I do think New Year's resolutions are overall a good thing. However, there is some people out there who will automatically say no, because normally they're the people who have either seen obviously the massive failure rate, or they end up seeing themselves fail at doing something every single year that they've been wanting to do for the last 5-10 years. So they end up saying, you know what, New Year's resolutions, we just shouldn't do them. However, I fully disagree. I think this will end up explaining why to a decent degree. New Year's resolutions are a way for you to track progress and actually see your imperfections as they are, as most people end up having the same New Year's resolutions every single year, primarily because they give up. They stop doing what they wanted to do, and they just kind of hope for the best that they might get on to doing it sometime throughout the year. However, that isn't how it works. New Year's resolutions are meant to stand there more as this idea that, okay, I want to improve upon what I was last year. Last year, I wasn't the best version of myself that I know I can be, and these are the things that I want to do. However, a lot of people end up overly believing in themselves that they can change all these different things within a matter of a year, which sometimes could be the case. You might be able to change yourself in a year to be this next level human. However, most likely, if you are just a normal person, you're not going to be able to do that. So let's talk about the idea of resolutions and why I do think it is actually the best choice that you could make when it comes to starting the new year. Now, the best way of putting it is that New Year's resolutions, for me, as I'm someone who's massively into self-development, stands as this point of, okay, now you can have basically a whole new slate of what your life could be over this next year. Yes, this is generally a fallacy. However, this gives you an idea of an objective way of viewing yourself, of saying, you know what, these are the things I actually want to improve in, and then you could become this better, more improved version of yourself, or you could just end up remaining in this mediocre state that you're currently in, where all you do is you come home from work, you have that business that you want to start, and then you just basically say, you know what, no, I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix for the next 5 hours, go to sleep, wake up the next day, drive half an hour, for example, to your job, and you're there like, oh, you know what, I wish I could be doing more. I wish I could go and read when I get home. I wish when I was at home I could actually do the things that I want to do. I wish I could spend the time with the people I actually want to spend my time with. This isn't me telling you to go start your own business. This is just like ideas that a lot of people will throw around as resolutions. However, you get the point. It's the idea that a lot of people end up being okay with sitting in this mediocre state of basically thinking, you know what, my life isn't going to get much better from here, so I might as well not even try. I think the best way of putting it is that over the course of 1 year, you end up going through 8,760 hours, which doesn't sound like as much as you'd probably expect it to be, but obviously that is a lot of time, especially when you consider that on average, what's the age? I believe it's about 80 in the UK anyway for a man now. So you do end up losing out a lot of time if you don't actually try and improve yourself incrementally, just day by day. The whole idea of improving yourself 1% every day, every week, every year maybe, if you have to, that is a thing that does work eventually, because you are taking incremental steps to become better. You're not just accepting being the version of yourself that you were a year ago, who is in the same physical shape that they were in a year ago, and you're now hoping, okay, maybe I might do this, but most likely you won't. Now, when it comes to actually creating the goals for yourself, I do think that you need to fundamentally sit down, actually write in a journal or load up a notes app and basically write down how you view your life currently and the things that you want to improve in. And a lot of people will have many different things come up. It could be stuff like you didn't read as much as you wanted to this year, you didn't end up making the habit of going to the gym stick, or maybe it's something like you didn't end up pursuing trying to get into a relationship properly and end up having a connection with another person or other people and end up doing more things with your friends. It could be many different things that you want to change about yourself over the next year to improve your life and make yourself feel like you're actually living a proper life instead of just existing in what is your current one. Now, many things will happen throughout this process of you realizing a lot of different things, so I do want you to actually stop, pause the video, and just come back to it once you have written down a list of things that are actual things that you want to improve about yourself or aren't going the way that you want them to go, and try and figure out what ways you can change those things to give yourself some ideas of, okay, what could I do over the next year to improve myself? It doesn't matter how long this list is, just create a list and actually go through it. Just pause the video, do it now, and then come back to this. Okay, I'm assuming that most likely you have ended up actually doing what I just mentioned, and if you haven't, just click off this video. I'll be honest, this video isn't just meant to be one of those where you sit down and you forget what you have just watched, let's say a few days later, a few hours later. Just click off, go watch something else, as this is not the thing for you. I'm trying to actually help you in a way to build up an idea of, okay, what are ways that you can improve yourself over the next year that will stick with you and they won't just fade away into nothing. The next step after you've got your list of different things is going to be categorizing all of this. This can end up becoming many different categories that you could end up creating yourself. However, the ones that I've got listed down over here are very basic ones. So you've got things like your physical, mental, and spiritual health. So you've got physical health, mental well-being, and spiritual practices. You've got learning, career/financial. Then you've got things like your relationships. That could be anything from trying to actually make a better relationship with your significant other, or it could be things like trying to improve your relationship with your family or friends. And then you've also got on there hobbies and what I class as MISC, basically just miscellaneous different ideas that you might have on there that you don't know where to put them in the category. Now you'll find that some things might overlap. You might have something, let's say, like going for a run that you may have tried at some point last year and you realized, oh, I'm getting a lot of mental benefits from it, because running isn't just a physical practice, it is also a mental one. A lot of running is a mental game, and it also helps you with your mentality of how you view a lot of things. So there'll be many different things that overlap, and that doesn't matter necessarily. So just put them in the categories that you believe they need to be in, and then that way you can now start working on the version of yourself that you actually want to become. Now what you need to do next is going to be going through all your categories and choosing out the most important, or maybe the two most important ones out of that list, depending on how many you have. Obviously, if you've got, let's say, 2 or 3 in every single section, or maybe you've only got 1 in every single section, that'll give you a very easy idea of, okay, what are my priorities? But if, let's say, you've got 5, 6, 7 in every single section, you may end up wanting to take 2 out of every single one, and those will end up being the ones that you mainly focus on this year. Basically, go through it, see what actually matters to you. If, for example, working out is something that you actually want to be doing, you are thinking to yourself, I really should be doing this, I don't know why I'm not, or you do know why you are, and why you're not doing it. So with that, you can end up actually trying to build around an idea of, okay, what are the things that are going to improve my life, or at least I think are going to improve my life and can become the staples of building myself up over this next year. And then once you've done that, you need to then start creating actionable steps. This is going to be the biggest thing, no matter what. Out of everything on this, you could have had the idea of going to the gym, but you've already had that floating around in your head for ages. You now need to create actionable steps to take to actually get into the gym and start working on the body that you want to have. If you want to, let's say, lose 20 kilograms this year, let's say, then you can do that. It just takes a lot of discipline on yourself over the next year of things like doing exercise, doing cardio, and also cutting back what you're eating. But let's say you want to get into a good physical shape and have a decent amount of muscle. That's going to take a lot of different steps. For example, for myself, I know that when it comes to when people ask me for advice about, let's say, getting into the gym, the first thing that I'll always say to anyone is just go to the gym, get into the habit of going. Don't even worry about what exercises you're doing, what food you're eating. Don't worry about those, because those are the next harder parts. First, get comfortable with where you are. Then after that, you can then start building onto, okay, what are the exercises that I'm going to be doing? And then eventually walk onto the hardest part, which is going to be the nutrition and changing what you are intaking to actually get into a better physical shape. Because all of these things do take different amounts of time and energy and a lot of determination. You don't want to just throw yourself fully in, because then you'll just walk away and be like, you know what? I want to do this, however, it's a bit too tough, so I want to walk away. You want to build the habit first of just going to the gym, being comfortable with that, and then start building the habit of becoming comfortable with the workouts that you're wanting to do. Do those things first. Create your actionable steps, divide them over the course of the next year. Your actionable steps will consist of 2 different versions. You'll have actionable steps that you can take right away. For example, let's say you want to go to the gym, go through your week, schedule through in your week how many days you're going to go. I'd say if you're starting that habit, maybe aim for like 3 days a week. Don't throw yourself in at 5 right away and then build up to 5 eventually over, let's say, 2 months. I'd probably say is the best case scenario for most people. Don't just throw yourself in there trying to go 5 to 7 times a week, because you are not going to be doing it, because you'll be sat in your car thinking to yourself, I want to go to the gym, however, I also want to go home and just be in bed. And your body will most likely end up telling you, you know what, you went yesterday, you might as well go lay in bed. So you need to prepare yourself for the mediocre version of yourself. When you end up doing your calendar, a lot of us, especially me, I end up trying to build a calendar for the most productive version of myself, who's going to be getting everything done across the board, who's going to be able to record, script, edit, go to work, go to the gym, do all of this throughout the whole day and never feel exhausted. Most of the time, that doesn't happen because I know that I can't be productive all the time, so I have to start scaling back what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. Create your actionable steps for what you can do right away and your actionable steps for every single month, and then you can kind of start working on them throughout the year. Now, the most common reason why people fail at doing the things that they want to accomplish over the next year comes down to believing in themselves way too much, or at least believing that they can do something way quicker than they actually can, which is the same thing. So a lot of people, for example, might want to make that business idea that they've got, which literally has no money backing it and is worth nothing, to being a 6 or 7 figure business in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe a year. It's going to be very hard to go from that point to the next one and actually start building something. It's also going to be very hard for you to go from being someone, for example, who is, like me, 5'8" and could be 85 kilograms, going all the way down to what my goal will be, which is about 70 to 75 kg, and I want to aim for about 15% body fat generally. I know that's going to be a hard task. I'm not expecting to be able to just magically be able to do that next day. I'm expecting that to be something that takes time, and over the next year I'm planning to try and build that up to get to the point where I'm at that by December next year. I don't want to expect myself to be in, let's say, 3 months to be in this extreme shape that I guess could be possible, maybe. However, most likely I'd have to starve myself and do many different things that I shouldn't do. So it's everything needs to be a work in progress. Don't just throw yourself in at the deep end and expect yourself to be able to do tons of things all at once, and then expect yourself to somehow not feel like just awful about yourself because you've ended up failing at all these things that you wanted to do. And because you put yourself in of trying to build up all of these different things, let's say you've wanted to build up like 8 different ideas, and then after that you end up building nothing, because everything was built off this idea of do everything at the same time and hopefully it'll work out. Now, the last thing that I'll give you, if you have been following along with this idea of creating your list of things to do and then categorizing them, then giving them a level of hierarchy of which one is more important than the other, and then creating actionable steps. Now, it is just taking action. To be honest, I think, yes, New Year's resolutions are something that people should do. However, people should start enacting on them before the year starts. Or if you're watching this, let's say, on the 5th of January or the 2nd of February 2023, you just need to start now. Don't wait until the new year, because you're going to end up basically putting yourself off of this version of yourself that you could be. But also, the whole idea of just waiting until then to start enacting it is just basically you trying to comfort yourself. You're saying, you know what, I can be this subpar version of myself for the next month, and then I'll start becoming the better version of myself. You probably won't. You need to start enacting as soon as you can. And let's say you want to go to the gym, you're watching this video, it's 1 AM, but you have a gym membership and you can't go until, let's say, 6 AM. Go to sleep right now. Go to sleep and go to the gym the first thing you do when you wake up. Obviously, have some water or something like that, then go to the gym, but actually start enacting right away. Don't just wait until the new year, because it's just an arbitrary date. That's the reason why a lot of people end up basically saying you shouldn't do New Year's resolutions. However, I do disagree. I do think you should set New Year's resolutions. However, you should enact them as soon as you've started setting them. So yeah, if this video was helpful for you, make sure to leave a like and do subscribe for more content in the future. This channel is a dedicatedly gaming channel and will be as of the new year. So if you do want to see more self-development content, I'll have a link in the description below to my self-development channel where I'll discuss more things like this and other topics as well. So make sure to go check those out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.